We tend to view this planet as our own personal stage. We measure time in dynasties, empires, and industrial revolutions, treating modern existence as the main event of Earth's story. But take a look at this timeline charting Earth's 4.5 billion year history. If we map out everything, human existence is a microscopic sliver on the extreme right edge. When we scrub backward past that sliver, we enter a blank expanse. Millions of years stretch out with absolutely no human footprint, no agriculture, just an empty vacuum. And that vacuum was completely hostile. Extreme geological forces constantly terraformed the surface, with massive volcanic eruptions ejecting dense plumes of ash. The atmosphere was just as volatile. Continuous electrical storms battered the surface, illuminating pitch-black skies with rapid-fire lightning. Earth functioned as a violent alien system, governed by chaotic resets, a world built for giants rather than settlers. Out of that volatile wilderness, life eventually took hold, and it scaled up to proportions we would barely recognize today. Look at the sheer scale of this fossilized skeleton compared to the human observers standing below it. Apex predators and massive herbivores dominated the plains, building bodies that required thousands of pounds of vegetation and meat just to function. That extreme scaling extended upward, too. Enormous reptiles conquered the skies, launching themselves off cliff edges and completely dwarfing any bird alive today. Beneath the waves, the oceans hid terrifying, heavy-jawed apex predators. Gigantism was the global rule. This chart shows exactly how far that rule went. When we place the silhouette of a prehistoric dragonfly directly behind a modern bird, you can see the scale. A highly oxygenated atmosphere allowed these insects to grow wingspans up to 2 feet across. Immense physical bulk was the ultimate evolutionary advantage. It was a brutal ecosystem where massive size was a requirement, leaving no room for small, vulnerable creatures to thrive. Then, the rules of survival abruptly flipped. A massive asteroid slammed into the planet, instantly altering the atmospheric chemistry. Millions of tons of vaporized rock and debris were ejected into the atmosphere, wrapping the globe in a thick, dark blanket that blocked out the sun and destroyed the food chain from the bottom up. In a starved, sunless world, extreme size suddenly became a fatal flaw. The giants could no longer sustain their massive caloric needs, and they collapsed. The evolutionary pivot favored the exact traits that used to be a weakness. Tiny, fragile mammals survived the dark years strictly because they could hide underground and require far fewer calories. As the dust settled and life slowly returned, global temperatures plummeted. Immense, heavy sheets of glacial ice carved their way forcefully between rugged mountain peaks, reshaping entire continents. Gigantism eventually returned to this frozen world, but this time wrapped in thick fur. Woolly mammoths and saber-toothed predators became the new monarchs of the ice. This shift highlights a recurring cycle. Massive upheaval shatters existing biological monopolies, creating the void necessary for entirely new branches of life to thrive. By the late Ice Age, Earth had settled into a fully realized, beautiful ecosystem. It operated perfectly, cycling through seasons and predator-prey balances without any need for human intervention. Yet a new, anomalous variable eventually appeared on the horizon. These fossilized skull fragments and jawbones show the distinct, fragile structure of early hominids. Instead of armored scales or immense bulk, this new branch relied on cognitive capacity to survive. This fragile species arrived to inherit a planet defined by billions of years of volatile history. Earth was never waiting for humanity to arrive. We are simply the latest survivors to emerge from a restless, violently cyclical planet, building our modern world directly on top of the bones of lost giants.